Didn't know really anybody here in America. He landed in New York, close to Long Island, and he started working for a guy that owned a smoked fish company. By the age of 16, first he was in school for 2 years, didn't work out. By the age of 16, he started working for a guy in the smoked fish industry. That was Nova Scotia Foods. Any old timers in the smoked fish or bagel business would know that name. They were very big in the herring business and then sturgeon and things like that. They were very, very, very big, popular company. Then my father started out working as a driver for that company. The owner of the company fell in love with him and invited him into the plant. Started teaching him all about the business, how to smoke fish, how to cure fish, how to cut fish, everything from the ground up. He also knew a lot about the customers from his delivery days. Sure. He had the full spectrum of the inside and outs of this business from, let's say, the ages of 16 to 18 years old. At the age of 18, the owner of the company sold, and my father went to work for the new owners. Didn't really like it over there, and after 6 months, he said, I can do this by myself. Borrowed some money from a friend, and Banner was started. And,
simple as that.
Yeah, that was it. February of 1988. The fact that it was a lot more simple to open up a smokehouse. Obviously now there's a lot more that goes into it, and it's definitely not simple to operate and maintain a smokehouse. But I'd say in 1988, at the age of 18, he just started. So he used to go to the fish market every morning, buy the fish, cut it himself, bring it to a different smokehouse to smoke it for him, come back, pack it up, and deliver it, and do the same thing for about 6 months until he got his own place. And he was officially born, I think it was in Astoria, Queens.
Yep.
And then he quickly outgrew that place and landed in Long Island City until about 1999. And then since 1999, we've been in our building in Brooklyn, and obviously have expanded upon it tremendously over the last 20-something years. So we really grew our footprint.
So you're second generation in the business. Did you just grow up basically in the factory? Like, has this been like set in stone from the beginning, or is this something that you've been really interested in and kind of want to dive into? So
it's a good story. I started working for my father in 2011, right after Hurricane Sandy. For people that know us, our factory is located in Coney Island. We're about a block away from the water. So right after Hurricane Sandy, I was in college at the time. My father's facility got completely wiped out. Equipment was completely shot. Everything basically in the garbage, lost millions of dollars overnight. And I was in college in the city, and my father's like, change your schedule, you're coming to work for me. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I have a huge real estate career it's coming up. And he's like, nope, change your schedule. You're coming to work for me. So for the next 4 years, every morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, I went to work for my father. At about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I left and took night classes. And I did that for 4 years. And then at the end, I told my father, I'm like, okay, I think I want to pursue this college education thing. And he's like, no, you're not. You're doing good over here.
Get out.
So,
yeah.
And then that was it. So here I am. I have a background. I have a background in real estate finance and digital marketing, and a minor in English literature. And here I am cutting and curing fish for the last 11 years.
Hey, you never know where life's windy roads are going to take you.
Exactly.
So,
and I don't regret it for a second.
Good. Well, tell us about, what I know you guys do just a ton of different products, but maybe like the most bagel related, the three top sellers that are bagel related. What are the best things that Banner brings to the table?
So I definitely say our for the traditional bagel stores and appetizing stores, our best selling product is our whole Nova sides, the ones that people are expertly slicing behind the counter. We do tremendous business with that. And I would also say that our flavored cold smoked salmons like the pastrami and the pepper nova and the gravlax also do extremely well. But actually, my all-time favorite happens to be sliced sable. So that's where I'm holding in my personal preference. But I'd say the top sellers obviously is the classic. It's the Gaspé Nova. It's the smoked salmon, cold smoked salmon. Then you have your sable and whitefish and kippered salmon, obviously as the top main appetizing items that people put on their bagels.
And what's the key to making them so good, like you guys do? So if you can, you don't have to spill any family secrets or trade secrets, but just from a process perspective, like, what differentiates you?
So I'll tell you like this: a lot of it has to do with the sourcing of the raw material. First of all, there's different countries of origin for salmon. You have your Alaskan salmon, Chilean, Canadian, Norwegian, etc. So it all comes down to sourcing the right product. And then I would say it's the process of the brining and the smoking methods. So you can find, a lot of people say like, oh, it's smoked salmon, it's the same thing, but it really isn't. I know from our competition, our competitors in the business, our process is entirely different. We do something traditionally what others don't, where they would cure it in a liquid brine. And we do some of that, and we do a little bit of a different type of brine with different measurements of salt and sugar and other types of ingredients. Then obviously the smoking is also traditionally different. You have different types of wood chips. You have different types of time, temperatures, so many different things that are related to the smoking process that also make a huge difference in producing the proper smoked salmon. Similar to bagels, you have different water temperatures and so, it's very similar in that regard where, that the outcome of your smoked fish really depends on everything that you put into it.
Yeah. So there's like 1,000 different variables basically. And you got to measure and control for all of those and just change it depending on where you're sourcing from and what the temperature is outside and just like all these different things.
100%.
And that's why it takes so much skill and experience to kind of pull off, a large-scale operation like you guys are doing.
Absolutely. So it's definitely part of it. And like I mentioned from the beginning, it definitely starts with great sourcing of product, great smoke, great raw.
Who has the best? Who has the best raw fish?
So the best is hard to define. There's so many different variables, different tastes for different people. My particular favorite type of raw material in salmon is Icelandic salmon. It's something that we produce actually quite often in our facility. It's just something so special, so unique, so different. People are used to the Norwegian or the Scottish, Canadian, Chilean, the traditional. And then on occasion we'll produce fish from the Faroe Islands or from Iceland, and you just get a completely different fat content, a different type of texture, a different type of feel, mouth feel, so to speak. It really makes a huge difference.
My mouth is watering right now. Just I'm going to try that.
So for those that come to Beagelfest, I plan on having Icelandic salmon. So you guys better be coming.
Let's go. Okay. And so I saw someone in the comments ask, how's Beagelfest work? You get a ticket, you come in, and you're going to sample from all the great vendors like Banner Smoked Fish. We've got over a dozen bagel shops as well that are bringing their signature sandwiches, bagels, cream cheese, toppings. You're going to leave full. I can guarantee you that. You're going to leave full. You're going to have a good time. I'm really excited to have some Icelandic salmon at Beagelfest. That's big news right here.
Yeah.
You just broke that news. That's amazing. I'm pumped for that.
That's good stuff. It's very hard to source, and we don't get it every week, so it's good stuff.
Well, I love that the timing is working out.
Thank God.
So one thing, I've been diving into the bagel history a bit, and I want to know, how did Bagels and Lox come to be such an iconic duo? Now, I've got my own, investigative theories on this, but from a man in the smoked fish business, I want to hear your opinion. How did this come to be?
So I'll tell you the truth. I'm not so sure. I really don't know. I guess that's more of a question, I think, for my father. He probably has a better history. He's a history buff. But I'll tell you like this. I do know one thing for sure, that the best types of bagels that you can possibly have, I'm talking about cream cheese with tomatoes or your tuna, it needs to have good smoked salmon on it. It's the only way to make a good bagel, my opinion. But the history of it, I can tell you like this, you know, I know that there's a deep history of Eastern European bakers, you know, that brought all their tradition over, and traditionally smoked fish and smoked salmon has always been, by way of preservation, you know, something that's been, in terms of history, been around forever. So I believe when Eastern Europeans came over and traveled to the Americas, to North America, they kind of just brought it, and it became a staple of New York. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wish I had more. I can tell you more about the history of the smoked salmon, but I can't tell you about the bagel pairing.
Well, yeah, it's a question. I think what you were talking about is in line with what I've read, which is the preservation techniques made it a lot easier to store without refrigeration back in the early 20th century when this wave of Eastern European immigrants were coming over. And it was also a lot easier to get kosher than it was to get meat. And so because of that, you know, it was bountiful, plentiful, and because there's so many bagels around, you know, they added it all together, and boom, you've got a bagel, cream cheese, and lox. The interesting story, which I don't think is true, but it's like the apocryphal one, is that there was an Eggs Benedict craze back in the 1920s, and Jews obviously couldn't eat it because it was hollandaise sauce and ham on an English muffin, so they made their own version, so that they had FOMO about the Eggs Benedict, and so they replaced the ham with the lox, hollandaise sauce with the cream cheese, and the English muffin with the bagel, and boom. It's the Jewish version of...
I can tell you, us Jews have a lot of FOMO. We do got a lot of food FOMO.
Gotta keep up. Gotta catch up.
We're trying. We're getting there. We're advancing slowly.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah.
So you did say, you know, lox with a bagel is the way to go. What is your favorite bagel? What is the go-to bagel?
So I'll tell you the truth. I try not to get too funky with it. Really depends on my mood. There's two smoked fish bagels that I get. And one is I get a poppy seed bagel. I'll get it with scallion cream cheese, tomatoes, red onion, only red onion, capers, and I'll get regular cold smoked sliced salmon. That's one version of my bagel. And the other one that I recently, I'd say in the last 3-4 years, have really been loving is I'll get whole wheat everything bagel, scallion cream cheese, whitefish salad, and sliced sable on it, and I'll eat it open-faced.
Double fish.
Yeah, got a whitefish salad and smoked sable, and it's something really special, really good. But you got to be in the mood for it because it just hits you. It's like,
yeah,
it's a lot.
Intense.
It's a lot.
That's intense.
And I'm sure people over here are definitely going to try it after, and they won't be doing anything wrong by trying it because it's very good.
I wanted to ask for a secret tip, and you just gave it up right there. I also love that you work in the whole wheat everything. People don't know this. Very healthy for you. Whole wheat everything bagels, 0 calories, 0 carbs. It's whole wheat, right?
It's whole wheat. Yeah. It's whole wheat.
Yeah. You can eat as many as you want.
Exactly.
Smart. As we age, we gotta, adapt to that too. So this is a bagel podcast, basically a bagel show. And so I got a speed round where I'm going to ask you a bunch of bagel-related things and just get your initial reaction. Don't think about it too much. You ready?
Sure.
Toasted or untoasted?
Untoasted.
Scooped bagels?
Never.
Rainbow bagels?
Not for me. No way. No way.
Montreal bagels?
I didn't even know they had bagels there.
Oh, okay. Shots fired.
Is that a? There's only such a thing as a New York bagel. That's it.
People from Montreal like to insist that there's some big bagel rivalry between Montreal and New York, but lots of people.
I don't think New Yorkers even acknowledge it.
Most don't. They do have it's same wave of Eastern European immigrants who came over also settled in Montreal. So they do have, but they just have a different take on it. They wood fire it, boil it in honey. It's a lot sweeter, a lot denser. It's not the same. I go for New York, but some people are opinionated, so. Right. Okay, and then last question. Is it the water?
Is it the water? I would think so. I'm in Miami now. I had a bagel yesterday for breakfast. It's not the same.
Not the same.
It's not the same.
I was going to ask about the Florida bagels. Have you had the Florida bagel?
So I had. It was an okay bagel. I'm definitely not going to name the name of the place, but it was missing something. It was the crunch. It was this. I don't know. Maybe it was the chew. Something was off with it. And listen. When I go to Manhattan, and when I go to visit people in the city, there's never a day where I don't walk out with having 5 or 6 bagels. It's like every store owner that I know, hey, Eli, take another one. And I'm like, and I can't insult anybody. So, I definitely eat my fair share of bagels, and I got to tell you, there's something different about New York bagels.
There is. I don't understand why Florida can't figure it out. There's a large enough Jewish population. There's a large enough, target demo there. And
the
beyond,
smoked fish is great.
It's no longer that, I don't know why they can't figure it out. It must be the water. It must be the water. I think it's the know-how, but it's also the water. And the water plays a role in, in the smoked fish process too. Yeah.
Sure.
So, is it?
Sure.
Does the New York water, is it that differentiated from other places as well?
I would say for us, I haven't smoked fish anywhere else and haven't produced anywhere else, but I would say that the actual source of the water isn't as much as an effect as is the temperature of the water. The temperatures have, I would say, more of a differentiating makes the process different for the smoked fish more than the actual source of the water. But again, I've never smoked fish elsewhere.
So hard to know.
Yeah, hard to know.
Someone wants to know, is there any smoked salmon that is not farmed available?
Sure. We produce wild salmon. I know of multiple companies in the U.S., at least in the East Coast, that produce wild salmon. We're actually producing now. We're producing wild Alaskan salmon. Sable is also a wild caught fish. Whitefish is a wild caught fish. Mackerel is a wild caught fish. Herring is a wild caught fish. People don't realize that. There's a big wild industry of items that are actually produced, by us and others. But yes, we do produce farm-raised salmon, but at the same time, we also do produce wild salmon for customers.
So you just got to take a look at the label, basically, and you can figure it out.
Yeah. And I would say, there's a big argument, obviously, between wild and farmed. But I probably would say that the wild industry probably can't even support the amount of
demand.
Salmon demand. Yeah. There would be no fish, in my opinion. There wouldn't be any fish very quickly.
Yeah.
So
there's a reason it exists.
Yeah. It's a good thing.
Okay. I love that we don't always get questions from the crowd, but we've got a few here. What's the difference between wild and farmed? The Leather Hour wants to know.
Sure. So simple. The way farm raised salmon works is there's 2 types. They have them off the coast, where they'll make these little fjords of farms, so to speak, where they'll have them more in a more natural habitat, and they'll feed them food pellets and things like that. A lot of times the food pellets will actually have a color additive, which also serves as an antibiotic to prevent, parasites and diseases and things like that. There's no parasites in farm-raised salmon, whereas wild salmon does. The thing with wild salmon, and a lot of people don't know this, is that, as wild fish start to spawn, they start to eat off of their insides, so to speak. They start losing all their fat content, more lean. They start getting sick, and there's no real way to tell, the type of salmon that you're consuming. Is it pre-spawn, post-spawn type of thing. They have parasites that could potentially be contaminated with other things. Not that there's no place for it in the market. There is, but people need to be fully educated on what wild versus farmed actually is. I get people that tell me all the time, oh, they do this and this to wild salmon. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like I've been to farms. Like they don't do any. Like I've been to fish farms all around the world. Like they don't do that. I don't know what documentary you watched, but like those things don't happen.
So it's basically there's a lot more control over the farmed salmon experience.
Oh, for sure.
And people just automatically associate natural with better or healthy, whatever it may be, when in reality you can actually have a lot more control over that ultimate outcome.
I got to tell you like this. I've been to some of these fish farms. They are some of the most pristine, gorgeous operations you've ever seen in your life. I'm talking about like you can just look at the floor and it's spotless. Like you can't get that in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't exist. So it's definitely more the controls and different things that are associated.
Got it. That was a good explanation. I learned a bit there. Sydney Cooks wants to know, what kind of smoked fish would you recommend for a first date?
Ooh, I guess it depends on the type of date, but if you want to be funky, I would definitely go with some pickled herring.
Pickled herring?
If you want to
get to know the person straight away.
Exactly. I'd say that'll be the make it or break it. You don't have to spend too much time. Either they're for it or against it, and you'll know right away. But if not, then obviously just go classic, go traditional cold smoked salmon, and have a nice day.
I love it. Cool. What is your go-to salmon for sushi?
My go-to salmon for sushi is...
Jason Karp wants to know.
So I'll tell you the truth. I'm not the biggest sushi fan, but I would say they're just regular Atlantic salmon. Regular.
Keep it simple.
Farm raised Atlantic salmon, or sometimes I get a spicy tuna roll. But I'm not the most savvy when it comes to sushi. But I definitely do like smoked fish.
Well, I
don't think there is enough. There's not enough of. I don't think there's enough of sushi smoked. Smoked fish on sushi. Tongue twister over there.
Well, maybe you can change that.
Maybe.
All right. Well, Eli, I appreciate your time. Let's wrap this up. Beagelfest happening September 17th and 18th at City Point in downtown Brooklyn. Banner Smoked Fish is going to be there on Sunday. You talked a little bit about what you're looking to do. You're going to bring some Icelandic salmon, which sounds amazing. Is there anything else that people should know heading into this?
Sure. So I'll tell you, we actually launched recently a new brand. We called it Brooklyn's Finest. We call it Forming a New Tradition in Smoked Fish. It's a specialty division where we have, different flavors of cold smoked salmon specialties, of jerkies and double smoked bellies and nuggets, and different flavors, jalapeno and habanero, candied flavors. Whoa. Really cool stuff. We actually just brought it to market a few months ago. We're at about 30 locations already, growing every week. And it's really, really something special, and I'm excited to share it with everybody.
So where can people get it right now?
So it's in West Side Market in New York City. That's a big, easy name that people will get.
Yeah.
And it's in a ton of stores in Brooklyn. And we're hopefully going to be launching it shortly to Stop and Shop.
Oh wow, that's huge!
Yeah.
So you'll be
in the Northeast
Beagelfest.
Yeah, we're going to be sampling it out for themselves. We're going to be sampling that at Beagelfest. People should be able to come taste it, see what it is. It's not your traditional smoked salmon. People are thinking that it's going to be a regular, slice of Nova. It's totally different.
Whoa.
Packs a punch. It's great. It's unique. It's funky. You know, it's really a specialty item, and it's exciting and it's good stuff.
Hell yeah. I'm pumped for that. That sounds amazing. Sometimes like anything that's unique or different than the norm is like, that's what this is all about, you know, stand out from the crowd. So that sounds perfect for this.
Yeah.
One thing I'm looking at my notes, I can't believe I forgot to mention this, was you've gone viral on TikTok several times.
Yeah.
Like millions and millions of views. I think, what did you have, like 17 million views on one video? What, like, tell us about that. Like, I would never, you know, have necessarily expected like a smoked fish company to go viral on TikTok, but
So I'll tell you exactly how it started. There was a guy, he was an onion farmer. And this guy went viral all the time, showing people packing millions of pounds of onions. And he would just take videos and be like, guys, I have 10,000 packages of onions going to Costco over here and 30,000 packages of onions going to ShopRites over here. And I'm like, and the guy had like almost 1 million followers. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? So I figured people probably just want to see the process. They want to see what's going on. So I started shooting like nothing professional. It was literally just me with my iPhone, going into the production, trying not even to show too much because I don't want people to start knowing all the ins and outs of the facility and how we work. But I figured people would be, you know, interested in some of the equipment that we have, you know, because, you know, a lot of it over the years has become very automated. And that's why we're able to produce 2 million pounds of fish a year. You know, so I shot a couple videos, and next thing you know, my wife tells me like 4 o'clock in the morning, she's feeding the baby. She goes, your video, it's got 100,000 views. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, okay, go back to sleep, you know? And by the next morning, I'd say like within 16 hours, one video had 1 million views, and it was just climbing and climbing and climbing. So I kind of got to the impression that, you know, people really want to see the process. People are actually genuinely interested in learning, you know, interesting things and how it's made and how things work. You know, and it's also funny because I'll post like these videos that I think are going to blow up. You know, like I made a video where I was making black caviar, and it was a little container, you know, it was like worth $15,000 in this little container. And I'm thinking in my head, like, this is going to hit it. This is big. And like, nobody cared, you know?
Yeah.
And then you have videos that are just like, okay, whatever. And boom, 5 million views, 2 million views, you know?
It's almost like people can sense like how much effort goes into it, you know? It's like the more natural and organic it is, the more it like resonates with people. I found the exact same thing with my, you know, I've gone viral a couple times, and it's literally the dumbest videos that I've put almost no thought or effort into. And the ones that I'm like carefully crafting and editing and like perfect
execution and nothing.
Every single time. So was there like, did you get like any residual effect from those videos going viral? Was there, yeah? Like a big like...
So it's funny, there's actually a piece of equipment that we use in the facility, and I got like a couple 100,000 views in the first day, and I call up the company, and I'm like, guys, I think I just made your company go a little bit viral with your equipment, like throw me some stuff, you know? And they started giving me free blades and free things, you know? And it was really cool. It was really nice. But I've also picked up some business from it. I've gotten some customers, you know, long-term that started buying from us because they saw it. And a lot of people just don't know about us, you know?
Yeah.
I think that over the years, you know, we really tried to rebrand ourselves and let people know who we are. You know, we're a traditional wholesale business. You know, we've always focused on the Northeast. We've always been Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, Long Island type of business. But the world has definitely changed. You know, you have pockets of people that love smoked fish all around the country. You know, and we'll just have customers from all around, whether it's in Vegas, Chicago, you know, we're within the Midwest, we're in hundreds of locations, and people reach out to us and like, wait a second, you guys sell in the Midwest? And we're like, yeah. And they found us through TikTok, you know, and people buy. They find us through TikTok. It's really cool. It's very interesting.
TikTok's an insane marketing tool, and everyone who's in here who runs a business should be on TikTok. Like they just really should. It's a no-brainer because like you said, you don't even have to be professional or like put that, like it really is. You can just film with your phone and upload some stuff, and you never know what the algorithm is gonna like and what it's gonna push.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, the people that know my father, old timers in the business, they'll know this. Like when I was filming the TikTok that went viral, like it hit like a couple million views. I'm like, Pops, can you imagine? We just hit like 5 million views. He goes, well, what'd it do for me? Like, you can't.
Like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, totally like total old school. Like, okay, like go back to cutting fish.
Yeah.
Like totally no understanding of internet and how it works, and until I finally showed him, I'm like, listen, this guy started buying from us, that guy's buying from us, this customer just reached out to us, and it really works. It really works.
And now he doesn't yell at you every time you're walking around the factory with your phone out.
No.
Good.
So I got to start doing more TikTok. You're right. I'm going to start getting back to it.
Awesome. Well, Eli, this has been great. It's been a pleasure. Great to chat with you on here. Glad you're in the relaxing Florida sunshine right now, prepping for the busy season. You need your rest. And we'll see you in a couple weeks. We'll see you on TikTok, and then we'll see you in a couple weeks. Go make sure that you follow Banner Smoke Fish on Instagram, on TikTok. And, if you haven't tried Banner yet and you want to try their new, what's it called, Brooklyn Special?
Brooklyn's Finest.
Brooklyn's Finest. There's one place to do it 2 weekends from now. So,
Thank you.
Eli's been great.
Awesome.
Keep on rolling.
I'm looking forward to this tremendously.
Love it, man. This is going to be good stuff.
Awesome.
So
beautiful.
Take care, enjoy vacation, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right.
Be good, guys.
Bye-bye.